Hey everyone, Ben here, just wanting to bring you up to date with some key things that are happening to make sure we are communicating well and everyone is aware of some recent changes. Okay, so a couple of things to share about. One is to do with Sean Dooley, and the other is really the latest information around furloughs around Reach. So first of all, Sean and Nola Dooley, a great couple, wonderful part of our senior leadership team, have been part of the senior leadership team for a couple of years now, and they've actually been part of the church here at Reach and on staff for 5 years, and they've been based in Leicester during that time. And actually, as I moved to Derby and took the lead of Derby and of Reach as a whole, Sean took on the lead there in Leicester. And I'm sure many of us have been blessed by Sean's preaching in recent times. He's preached in Derby as well as Belper and Nottingham, actually. So hopefully you're familiar with who Sean is. Just want you to be aware that because we've been doing some development, things change all the time. And now in Leicester, Esther and George Bushbeck have taken a lead, and they're fully now into that role, and some things have been slightly accelerated during the course of lockdown. So George and Esther are now in role in Leicester, doing a wonderful job, and you're seeing George's face fairly regularly. George is behind the different broadcasts technically that we're doing, so we're just really blessed by the work that George is doing at the moment and want to honour and endorse him and Esther in that role. That's meant that there's a change of role for Sean, and we felt that the best way that Sean can continue to both work with Reach as a whole, but also then focus his ministry is actually to start to work that out in Derby more and to fill a few gaps there. So recently, Sean and Nola actually moved to Derby during lockdown. So they're actually here, but not able to meet with anyone. But I want you to be aware of that. I want you to be looking to welcome them. As I say, they are perhaps not that familiar to everyone in Derby, although you should have heard them preach and things like that, but they have been part of our team and our staff for a long time now, and we're so blessed to have them. So if you can look out for welcoming them, and hopefully you'll begin to see Sean's face more and more. Sean's actually on furlough at the moment, which leads me to the second thing, which is to update you about furloughs. So Sean is on furlough. That's because his new emerging role can't quite kick off, actually, whilst we're in this lockdown. But we are going to be so blessed by what he brings to us. He's a gifted teacher, he's a gifted trainer, and he's just really, really going to help us to pull a lot of the things that we do together. So we're excited about having him in play. But at the moment, he's on furlough, and actually, I've already communicated that to you before. He and Esther Rook have been on furlough since the end of March, along with all of the REM staff. But the update really is that now we're actually putting more people on furlough, and that includes all at slightly different times over the next 6 to 8 weeks. We're also seeing Julie Hill added to furlough, Adam and Karina Martin, not at the same time, but they're both going to have a season of furlough, and Aled Griffith as well will be going into furlough. So I want you to be aware of those things, and my appeal is that you would be praying for those guys. These are people who really love to serve. They give themselves to their roles and their leadership and all that they do, not for the money and not because it's a career ladder thing or anything like that. They could all find more money and more career progression in other things, but they do it because it's the call of God in their life. And so actually to be withheld during this season is quite challenging for them. And they're all going to be available to some degree. They're going to be operating as church members and volunteering everywhere that they possibly can. There's no lack of will on any of their part to give. It's actually a cost to them to be furloughed and to hold back. But because of the nature of furlough and how the government works, we do actually have to be a bit careful with this, because we want to honour the government. We want to make sure that with them drawing back, that they are actually not doing work. The challenge is determining what's work and what's not is a challenge when you work for the church, but we've got to be really careful with that. So if in any way it feels like they're holding back, it's because they're trying to do the right thing and honour the government's furlough scheme rather than dishonouring it. But their hearts are to serve, and you'll see them around as volunteers. So do pray for them. It's a tough season for them, but actually in this season, God is with us, and hopefully we're going to come out of the other side of this really well. You know, the whole lockdown, COVID-19 season has been challenging in different ways. Particularly in Nottingham, it's been a difficult time with 2 deaths actually during this season, as well as losing Helen Griffith not that long ago. And it's actually the funeral of Joe tomorrow, who we shared with, lost his life recently. And there's ongoing journey with Adrian and family as well. So let's be praying for everyone in Nottingham. In Belper, I believe it's been an exciting season with the daily devotions happening each day online, with the whole church actually gathering for that, and new communities emerging. And I know that in Leicester, with George and Esther taking a lead, it's a new and exciting season there as well. And who knows what God might do. In Derby, we're excited to see a number of people on Alpha, deeper thriving, and increasingly seeing people added to community. So there's a lot to celebrate, but we'll recognise that there's difficulty and sickness and challenge for many people, and loneliness as well. So we continue to appeal to you if you're struggling to be in touch with us. hello@reachonline.org. So the next few weeks are going to be interesting for us, aren't they? The government has just announced that the next few days we'll see lockdown measures changed. And I think that's an exciting time for us, because God wants to speak. He wants to challenge us to reevaluate the way we do everything. And I think we can be confident that our communities are going to be a key piece in that. And so I want to encourage you to continue to push into, and if you haven't done so yet, to push into a Reach community, because we might just soon have the opportunity to meet together. Whether we'll be able to meet publicly is a different matter. But let's commit to walking in faith together, to putting Jesus at the centre and trusting him as he builds his church. And we all play our part in it as a priesthood of believers, and see where he takes us next. If you're hearing God about anything, we want to hear about it, so please do share it with us. And as I say, please do be praying for those on furlough. And of course, this is a specific update about the church, but be praying the same thing for those who are on furlough, who are from other jobs that you know of around the church and wider. And of course, let's as well just be getting ready, particularly those of you in Derby, to welcome Sean and Nola, who are going to be such a great asset and a blessing to us. So have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you in the flesh soon. And if not before then perhaps bringing you another update in the not too distant future. Have a great week. Be blessed.